YouTubers, I'm glad you're all here. Thank you very much for joining me today. Sending prayers to all these people that have been injured, property damage, so many losses from the recent hurricane. Parts of eastern Canada resemble a war zone Sunday, which is today, September 25th, 2022. As the Caribbean and Florida brace for an intensifying tropical storm, Ian. Fiona, a post-tropical cyclone that had earlier killed 7 people in the Caribbean, tore into Nova Scotia and Newfoundland on Saturday. Storm-packed hurricane-force winds of 80 miles an hour, 100 kilometers per hour, and brought torrential rain as well as waves up to 40 feet. There was also reports of tidal surge, only that could be described as a tsunami 5 stories high. This is the worst hurricane or tropical storm, whichever you want to call it, to hit the area. Storm surges swept at least 20 homes into the sea in the Channel Port aux Basques. Images from Port aux Basques on social media showed waves engulfing homes completely destroyed and swept out to sea. There are multiple reports of electrical fires, residents collapsing and washed out into sea, areas of flooding throughout the community. Government officials said that restoring power would be their main priority. And here we got a map that shows different areas where the power is out. 34 there, 84 here, 215 there, 45, 38. Let me bring this out. Here we have a Twitter post that says more images being shared from family of the devastation in Burnt Island. The shed with the green door and sign is our family shed. Please stay safe, everyone. Listen to officials and get to higher ground. So there's one image, and we'll go to the next. Someone's shed or garage floating away. Yeah, it's just devastating. Here we have another image from the tidal surge, and you can see they got boats sailing through the, or being pushed through the playground here. Sending prayers. There was also a report, it's unconfirmed, of a woman who was washed out there in the same port. An image of Crystal Collier, who was in the port. Her home was destroyed by Hurricane Fiona. Her dining room collapsed into the garage. This morning she found her fridge washed up on shore. Still in her refrigerator was a box of White Claw seltzer. I imagine that's beer. Here's another image of her home that was destroyed. Yeah, just devastating. Another image from the port as a house was washed into the sea. Many residents said this is the worst storm they have ever seen. Here we have a tree down pulling the power lines. More power lines that were pulled down. The latest report about the woman who was fell into the sea by the waves evidently was recovered, and she's in hospital, but her condition isn't currently known. There in the Channel Port aux Basques, they declared a state of emergency on Saturday morning, and officials were knocking on doors asking residents to evacuate their homes. But I guess a lot of people didn't. There in Nova Scotia, I guess when the storm made landfall, more than 384 households were left without electricity. Besides power outages, phones evidently in many areas aren't working, so it's hard to get information. They don't have power, phones, or access to the internet. Evidently, an apartment complex was also completely destroyed. A lot of people are very angry as they try to return to their property, but are stopped at barricades. Yeah, they want to check on their homes and see what kind of damage they got. They're advising businesses to stay closed and residents to wait instructions from officials on when they can return. As of today, Sunday morning, more than 300,000 people were still without power. I believe that's Nova Scotia. The Canadian military has been deployed and to help to clean up trees and roads in the province. A lot of the roads are just washed out. They're gone. In Cape Breton, more than 100 cars were lined up to get gas for generators. And on the island of Nova Scotia, where dozens had spent the night in relief centers operated by the Canadian Red Cross. Yeah, and Tropical Storm Ian is supposedly going to be escalated to a Category 3, possibly, hurricane. Yeah, people are stocking up. Supposedly it's going to hit Florida Tuesday, but if they tell you to evacuate, please evacuate. Now, the latest post that I found says that Ian is supposed to hit a Category 4. And there is some remaining uncertainty, but the consensus is that Ian will likely make landfall in Florida, probably not in the Panhandle or South Florida, but somewhere in between. And they got one image here and then another one. And then they're expecting it to go up the coast of the U.S. And yeah, heaven help those people up in Canada if it's going to go up there again. So here on earth.nullschool.net is the current image of that hurricane. It's supposed to hit the Cayman Islands tomorrow. This is total water that's in the clouds. And yeah, the different winds. And then here we have the last 3 hours of precipitation. Rain, let me zoom in a little bit on that. And then this one here is wind power. Yeah, and then the next one would be humidity. This one would be temperature, and this one here would be wind. But I was listening to another weather report, and there's supposed to be a low up in here that's going to push it up along the coast again. And yeah, how bad is it going to be? Look at that. Oh, look, we got another little thing out over here. So what are your thoughts? Please put those comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Like, share, and subscribe. Please stay safe. If they tell you to evacuate, evacuate. Yeah, and if you have flooded roads, yeah, turn around, don't drown. God bless y'all. Thank you. Bye.